Konnichiwa, hello and welcome. This is Roy and Ninjazilla90, and today I will be reviewing the S.H. Monster Arts Godzilla King of the Monsters King Ghidorah 2019 Special Color Version. And I got some things to say about it. So, with that said, let's get things started. And now, here we have the S.H. MonsterArts Godzilla King of the Monsters 2019 King Ghidorah Special Color Version right here before us in all of his very evil three-headed space monster glory. Because, you know, three heads are way worse than one. Or two in some cases. But anyway, as you can see, this is a really big, pretty bulky, really hefty figure. That's why I have to have the camera so far back in order to review this one, because yeah, he is really big and I can't even reach him from where I'm at just to get a full on view of this figure. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to demonstrate articulation, getting close-ups of different portions of the body and basically breaking it down, because I can't really have my usual camera angles with this figure because of the sheer size of it. But anyway, just to take a closer look before we get started, we can see he is comprised of a very bright, vibrant, very beautiful, shiny, metallic gold colorization with some silver wash going throughout the neck and in the chest area there. If you can take a good look at it and see, we can see that, like I said, that metallic silver wash in there. We can see the finer details in his wings. If we look closely, we have all those inner bone structures of his wings. As you can see, all those inner where, like, the frame for his wings, where the flesh would meet his bone, and then where his wings would spread out so he could fly. You can see that he has some really sharp-looking claws, and of course, King Ghidorah's very famous but deadly three heads. And now we are going to start getting a closer look at this figure with detail and articulation. Start working our way from the head to the wings to the lower body portion of the figure. So let's get started. And now that I have my camera in focus, and we can get a little closer, I can take a closer look at those three heads of his. As you can see, they are on, well, they are comprised of multiple different ball joints, of course. And can bring him up real quick so we can get a closer look at those faces of his. Looking really nice, really mean, and really fearsome. As you can see, those jaws are articulated so we can open all three of those mouths. You can see those very beautiful, dangerous, but deadly, beautiful pearly white teeth in there, looking really sharp. And of course, one of his horns on his head has some battle damage. That is how this figure is made. That is, yeah, it's not broken. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, we can see the inside of his other mouth, that very beautiful snake-like tongue that he has. And of course, lastly, his other head. And we can see those very fearsome demonic looking blood red eyes that this King Ghidorah has, looking really evil. I don't think I would want to get in a scrap with that. But anyway, let's put him back on his stand, hopefully. Yeah. Now that we have him back on his stand, we can take a look at the head articulation. I already demonstrated that the jaws are on a ball joint, so all three mouths can open and close. So that's a thing. And also, as I mentioned, all three of his necks are comprised of multiple different ball joint segments, so we can move the necks about this far down, like so. And the middle neck we can move down as well. Although I do need to be careful with the middle neck on mine, because the bottom ball joint likes to pop off really easily, and that is a very annoying pain in the butt to put back together. So anyway, as you can see, we can bring his heads all the way down like that and bring them back up. We can bring them back like so as well. So we can kind of lean them like that. We can turn his heads to make them look at one another like so, as if he was trying to talk to himself. I don't know. With all three of those heads, makes me wonder, does King Ghidorah argue with himself sometimes? Seriously? Does all three of his heads have different personalities? Seriously? I don't know. I'm just joking. Just kidding. But anyway, we do have another joint right here. Sort of kind of like, almost, I would say maybe a hinge in there, but I think it's mostly a ball joint. So we can go more down like that and back up. And we can spread the two side heads out like that and then bring them back in. And of course, the heads are also on a separate ball joint, so we can move them independently from the necks. So we can do that with one head. Can we do that with the other head? Yes. And we can also do that with the right head or the left, because S.H.MonsterArts figures are labeled from back to front. So this would be the right, well, that would be the left, and this would be the right. I know it's kind of confusing, but anyway, we are going to get a look at the back of this figure, because there is a detail about at least the legendary King Ghidorah that I can point out that not a whole lot of fans might know. So let's put him on his stand so he doesn't fall. And if I can get a close-up of those back neck spikes there, as you can see how he has his horns on the top of his head. Now, if you do take a closer look at those neck spikes of his, you will notice that the two necks on the side heads have a single row of spikes, while the neck for the middle head has a double row of spikes. So you know, you can take a closer look, and yeah, you can notice that the two side heads, single rows of spikes, middle head, double row of spikes, and those spikes go all the way down to his back, where they go off into his tail. So yeah, so now let's turn him back around. This is why I don't like messing with this one too much, because he is really bulky and top heavy. But I still think he's a cool figure overall. And yeah. Now we can get a look at those heads again in the front. Looking really nice. And how they go down to the chest area. So with that said, now let's move right along down to the lower body portion of the figure, shall we? And now we are finally at the lower body portion of the figure, getting a good look at that chest area and the belly, and of course those very beautiful legs of his. As you can see, we can see all those very beautiful, finer, sharper details in the S.H.MonsterArts figures, of course sculpted by the world famous S.H.MonsterArts sculptor Yuji Sakai. Of course, we can't review S.H.MonsterArts figures without naming, well, at least name dropping Yuji Sakai. But anyway, we can see those finer details with those scales that Ghidorah has, those very gold scales, as you can see. As you can see, he has, I would say, sort of like these dragon-like claw feet, because, you know, Ghidorah is like a three-headed dragon. Just look at that, looking very beautiful, very realistic, very movie accurate. I like it. Although a lot of people say this figure isn't entirely movie accurate, and yeah, I mean they're half right, but not exactly entirely right. But anyway, or as the legs, the hips can spread out about that much. They can come back in about that much. Let me take them off of the stand so we can get a closer look. We can bring them back about that much. As you can see, articulation in the legs is pretty limited due to the sculpt, but they can move at least a decent range, as you are seeing. And of course, we do have a double jointed hinge at the knee, so we can bend those knees forward and back. We also have a ball joint in his shin right there, so we kind of have a ball joint in his lower leg right there in his shin. And also we do have, if I could put him back down on his stand, because I don't want to drop this figure because he is expensive. Although, you can still buy this one right now from BigBadToyStore.com. He's also available from Toys in a Box, a bunch of other different websites. But anyway, moving right along down, we can see that we do have some ankle articulation, so we can move those feet, although my ankles on mine are kind of tight, so I'm not going to attempt to move them very much, as you can see. But we do have some good, decent range of motion. And of course, now turning this figure back around so we can get a good look at his bootay, or, well, at least his tails. Not to mention, Ghidorah also has something in common with a well-known... Oh, let me go. Sorry about that. I had to stand backwards. Like I was saying, Ghidorah also happens to have something in common with a very famous, well-known Sonic the Hedgehog character. Can you guess what that is? Yeah, that's right. He has two tails, just like Sonic's best friend, Tails. Yep, that's right. A lot of people don't really think about that when they think about Ghidorah and Godzilla stuff, where, yeah, he does have something in common with the Sonic the Hedgehog character, although Tails is a good guy and Ghidorah is a villain monster. So, anyway, getting a look at these tails here. As you can see, how the spikes from his head, well, his necks go down his back and they go into his tail, and they taper off at the tip of this tail, where they basically transition into these very dangerous, I would say, barbed fins that Ghidorah has at the end of his tail. Looking very deadly. I don't think you would want to get hit by that. And as you can see, yeah, they don't tend to stay together too well, as you can see. Trying to put his tail back together. Alright, I got it. But anyway, as far as tail articulation, we can move the tails out like that, so we can spread them out about that much. We can bring them back in about that much. We can bend them forward about that much. We can even cross them over a bit, like so, and the opposite way, so we can crisscross with them. And yeah, we can articulate his tails all sorts of ways, but we do have to be careful because they do like to pop apart very easily, as you are witnessing. So now, with that said, let's get into getting a look at those wings of his. And now, moving right along, getting a closer look at these very beautiful wings of his. As you can see, he has these very bony spike protrusions coming out of the tips of his wings, as you can see on both sides. There, 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 and there. The wings are on a ball joint, so we can bring them back about that much, and this head's about to come off, and we can bring them forward about that much. As you can see, we can bring them up about that much, back down. We can do sort of this wing flapping action, as you can see. And yeah, we also kind of like have a double ball joint hinge on this figure, which the head would stay on, well, the middle head. So we have a ball joint here, and you basically slide them in here. So that's how they go on, technically. Also, you can pull them off very easily and put them back on, as you are witnessing. Alright, same is true with the other side. Yeah, and that middle head just fell off. But yeah, you can definitely pop the wings off and pop them back on just as easily. But one thing I do have to give a quick warning about, and that's not just the middle head coming off. So just give me a second. Alright, like I said, the warning I do have to give about this figure, and it's not, like I said, not just the middle head popping off easily, as you can see. You know what, I'll just put that on the side for now. It is these bony protrusions on the wings, these bony spikes. They can poke you and potentially cut you and make you bleed, so definitely be careful with that. As you can see right there, if I can get that in focus, that just put a big indentation on my thumb. Yeah, that's not safe for kids. So if you are a parent, yeah, don't buy S.H.MonsterArts for your kids. Those are for older adult collectors. So yeah, now let's put him back on his stand and hopefully get his middle head back on, so we can get into my final verdict with this figure. So just give me a quick second here. Okay, hopefully the head stays on now, because that middle neck likes to fall off like nobody's business. It's one of the reasons why I don't like to take this one off my shelf too much. But anyway, with that said, it is now time to get into my final verdict, so let's get to it. And now for my final verdict on the S.H.MonsterArts Godzilla King of the Monsters 2019 Ghidorah Special Color version here. If I have to give him a score based on detail, articulation, and playability, I have to give him a drum roll, please. Not very much of a drum roll because I'm doing this one-handed, because I have to hold this figure. I have to give him a very fair but square, very unfortunate yikes. Although I do think this is a really good figure, and this is a very beautiful figure, but unfortunately the sheer size and weight of it basically defeats the purpose of this figure being an S.H. Monster Arts, because it requires a stand to just stand up on your shelf, and when you try to pose this figure in various poses, it falls to pieces too much, especially in the neck area. So with that said, I do have to take a lot of points off, especially for the price you're paying, and I have to give him a very unfortunate 2.3 stars. Why? Like I said, I think this is a really good figure. Don't get me wrong, like I said, this is a very beautiful figure. But for the price you're paying for this figure, and for it being an S.H. Monster Arts, it just has way too many drawbacks. What I mean is, the wings make it look cool, but they also make this figure very top heavy. The head on the middle neck does not tend to stay in very well at all, and as you can see, like you witnessed earlier in the video, details like to pop off a lot as you are seeing. Definitely not good. If I have to say anything about this figure, is the fact that this is more of a case of mainly a posable display piece rather than an actual posable, playable figure, and that's just unfortunate for this one, because judging by the looks of it, I could see a lot better potential, in a figure like this, but unfortunately, yeah, it's just not up to snuff with everything you would expect. So that's why I have to give it, such a low score. Although, like I said, the detail is really good. Articulation is okay, but due to the sheer size of this figure, it just, like I said, it just defeats the purpose of articulation, and the heaviness of the figure. It just takes away a lot of the playability. So yeah, the only redeeming quality that this figure has going for it is just the sharp detail. That is it. But other than that, I mean, rather or rather not, I recommend this figure. It's very suggestive. If you want them in your collection and you like this figure, definitely go for it. But if you want a figure that is more posable and more playable, I would definitely just go with the Hiya Toys 2019 King Ghidorahs and just avoid these. But I mean, other than that, I'm still glad I got him in my collection, although this is probably like my least favorite Monster Arts. So yeah, that kind of tells you one of the reasons why he got a low score. But I still think he looks pretty good on my shelf. So that's about the only thing I would say this figure has going for it. But anyway, guys, if you made it this far into the video, thank you guys all so much for watching. I appreciate that greatly. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, stay safe, take care, God bless, and peace out.